Oh, Stevie boy, you owe me £1,000.
Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's foolproof.
The FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show. Earth think that evolution is real. Chemtrails don't exist, vaccines work. Climate change is happening, we landed on the moon. The FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show. Welcome to the FTFE show. Scooty, it's not alright. Baby, it's not alright.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hello everybody, I am Craig McNeil, welcome to the channel. Today, it's not really going to be about flat earth stuff, well, not at all really, apart from the beginning, where I go and claim some money off of a flat earther. Today we're actually going to be helping me prepare for my live debate, which is in a week's time, well, less than a week now, I'll have finished it in a week, over in New Jersey, Newark, where I'll be debating Andrew Wilson about what is better for society, secular humanism or Christianity. And to help me prepare is the amazing, the incredible, the only one that I could find available, Max from Matters Now. That's not the right screen. It would help if I put him on the screen. Yeah, that would definitely be. There we go. There he is. There's
Hello.
Matt. And oh my cat, he's
welcome.
got a cat.
This is, oh my god, I am Max.
Yes.
And hello everyone. Pretty excited to be here once again.
If you don't know, Max is from the channel Matters Now, who basically review every debate on the internet. So Max is what I would say is a professional debate reviewer. Now, Max seems to have a lot of knowledge and speciality in dealing with Christian apologetics and arguments about the Bible and secular humanism and things like that. And he's been giving me some pointers and stuff with the debate I had with Jim Bob, which is my first toe dip into this scene, and he's going to help me today go over one of Andrew Wilson's debates just so I can get a bit more of a feel before I prepare my presentation and debate him next week. So I appreciate that, Max, but before we do, our old friend Steve has just released a video. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I'm going to play a little bit of it and then my quick response. So if you just bear with me one sec while I bring up the screen, because if you watched my videos over the past couple of days, you would have seen me going over Steve's video about the final experiment. And one of the big claims that he's making is that Jeranism at one point said the word sets when he was talking about the sun, implying that Jeranism was secretly trying to tell everyone that the sun sets. Now, I'm just going to play you at the beginning of one of his videos. So let me bring this up so everybody can see. Right.
We're saying something about this is
yeah, audio's coming through. Okay, so I'm gonna just play it from.
They're telling the truth unless they're lying.
It seems since I've posted that video where we clearly hear and see Jeren saying that the sun sets, it's caused a whole load of pandemonium.
Well, can I just ask you, Jeren, why is it you say that it sets?
I don't know. I don't even. That's what I said. I'd have to listen to. I don't know if I was just kind of rambling off there.
I'm going to jump in here, guys.
Of course you are.
People have been sending me messages.
All blood!
Jaren said, since a lot of people are saying this wasn't near Union Glacier, he said since, not sets.
And I'm a man of my word. There's £1,000 up for grabs for the first person who can run Jeren's little piece through any software, slow it down, and can prove to us all that Jeren says since and not sets. The thing is, guys, that everybody knows that Jeren...
Right, so you heard him there. He said the first person that can run the video through a software and slow it down and show that it says since, we'll get £1,000. Well, what I'm going to do, I've just released a short, so you can see me do it there. But the software that I am going to use is the YouTube closed caption software. And we're going to do two things. First of all, we're going to replay that.
And can prove a word. There's 1,000
messages.
Right, so first of all, we're going to play it in normal speed and see what the closed captions say.
Jaren said, since a lot of people are saying this wasn't near Union Glacier, he said since, not sets.
And I'm a man of my word. There's £1,000 up for.
Oh wait, go back over. Sorry. Oh no. Wait,
Of people.
Jaren's little, but Jaren says he knows that on this. So
Where
the
is it?
ball we need to get all. It's just key. Let's just listen to the whole clip. About a minute.
Here that this is the solar tracking mount, and it has stayed perfect with the sun for the last 24.
Right, so this is his video, and I've got the closed captions up, and it's running at normal speed.
So, yep, the sun will dip down right here. It doesn't go behind that mountain. Goes right above it, comes over here, gets back up high in the north, and then sets. A lot of people were saying.
Right, Max, what word does that say at the front there?
Since.
Since, right. So not sets, but he said it's got to be slowed down. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up and we're going to use the software to slow it down to 0.5. And then we're going to go back and we're going to play that again and see what it says now. Now, his bet was if you can use a software, slow it down and show it saying since, that he would give you £1,000, right?
Yep.
So if I press play now and it says in the closed captions since, would you agree that he owes me £1,000?
Ah, definitely.
Well, I'm going to press play and we're going to watch what happens. We're all going to do this together with 200 of you watching in the chat and me and you here.
And then says a lot of people were.
Oh, huh. Max, could you just confirm for me, what does it say there?
It does say since.
Right, so the video that he just released of Jaren saying the words that he said claims is Jaren saying sets. In fact, according to the closed captions, both at normal speed and at 0.5 speed, says since. Now, I'm just going to play the words that Steve said again, just to confirm I didn't miss what he was saying.
Since a lot of people are saying this wasn't near Union Glacier, he said since, not sets.
And I'm a man of my word. There's £1,000 up for grabs for the first person who can run Jaren's little piece through any software, slow it down, and can prove to us all that Jaren says since.
Right. So go through any software, slow it down, and prove to us all that Jaren says since. And that there, since, was the same since that it just said when Jaren was talking, right? Yeah, right. So he said that. I'm just going to...
Where slow it down and can run Jaren's little piece through any software, slow it down.
Any software. Now, is closed captions a software, Max?
It is a software running in the background of YouTube's
So I
web
used a
page.
software, I slowed it down, and it said since. Huh. So, Steve, thank you very much. I will claim on my £1,000 as proof. I have also put a short out, recording it on my phone to show it in different devices doing the same thing. And in front of a couple of hundred people there, everyone witnessed me meeting the criteria for his bet. So I claim the £1,000.
Yep. I think you should get it because you fulfill the requirements. He will probably come up with some excuses, but
Of course he will.
It's always good to win challenges, even though you know they're not going to pay.
Yeah, I mean, just about to head to New Jersey. I could do with £1,000 to spend on weed. That'd be nice.
Katz was asking what is Steve's channel, and I tried looking it up, but I don't remember. Would you
It's
mind,
Hey Dude. I'll put the link to it in the chat. There's the link, cats, to the chat, to the channel. Cats chat channel. There's too many C's.
So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that
now
I'm
you're
owed
£1,000 richer.
Yay!
I think you should spend it all on weed in New Jersey. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I just do both debates absolutely baked out of my skull. Oh, right. Okay, let me get this set up, and then we're gonna go over some Andrew Wilson.
One thing while you do that, I wonder, where does he go? Why is he always walking in his videos? Like, it's a bit weird.
He says he walks 10 miles a day for some reason. Not entirely sure why, but hey, if that's what floats your boat, you know, maybe he hasn't discovered cars yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All right, color. Sorry, one sec. Forgotten what I'm doing. Shut up! I'm not stoned. You're stoned.
I wish, but no. I smoked all day, every day for 20 years, but now I just can't handle it, and especially for doing shows, I need my full capacities.
No, I'm just stoned all of the time. Well,
That's fine.
I don't even really get stoned
can't
anymore, to be
handle it
honest.
anymore.
I just because I'm always smoking it for pain. It's very rare that I actually get stoned. Although since I've been using the vape, it's been a bit more intense.
Mm-hmm.
I should really set these things up beforehand. Right, here we go. And now let's get this over here. So, you've given me 2. Should we have Christian authoritarianism? Fuck no, you shouldn't. That sounds horrible.
Yes, but I think these 2 illustrate how he approaches debate. And before we get into it, he does play a lot to the opponent, and he does his fair bit of research.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to think or predict where he might go with you, because the problem is that he can generally, for example, if he would talk to someone like me, he can generally say, oh, like, you're a degenerate, you're a filthy atheist, all you want to do is like sin, and all of this, like regular talking points that don't really make much sense.
Yeah,
but
I don't care. I don't have the ability to sin because I don't believe in God, so that's irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, what's he gonna have to do? Let's see what dirt I've got in my history. I beat up a junkie and got arrested for it, and I poked him with my walking stick who was going to attack me. Yeah, cool. I like to watch a bit of porn every now and then because you know, boobies are awesome. That's about it, really.
Right, and you're like a family man with kids.
Yeah.
You do put on your work for the scientific community.
Yeah, I've served my country. You know, I've worked my whole life. Even though I'm disabled, I'm doing my best to earn a living. And you know, I don't think, you know, apart from the fact that I don't believe in a god, and you know, I like boobs. I don't really feel like there's much he can kind of have a go at me about. And if he says anything about me liking boobs, I'm just going to ask him why he's such a prude.
Yes. It's a thing.
But let me quickly catch up on the super chats. Let me quickly catch up on the super chats and then we'll get into it. B199 says, glad to be able to catch this whole thing live. Well, I'm glad that you could be here, B. Thank you very much. OG Yeti, $2. Good luck on your debates. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Yeah. Now, what everyone's going to have to understand is my debate with Andrew Wilson will be only my second ever debate in this field. Do I expect to slam dunk it? Probably not, no. But am I going to give him a fucking run for his money? Hell yeah. But thank you, I appreciate it. Culture Cats, £5. Thank you very much, Cats. Cats is one of the nicest people on the internet. He says, you'll do great. He's a slippery fish and articulate, but I know you prepared your ass off and will surprise him for sure. Yeah, I hope you watch my debate with Jim Bob. I really do. OG Yeti for $2 says, all Flat Earth bets are good on their word. Well, to be fair, Steve did pay up to Critical Think for the plane flight that he said didn't exist. So who knows? I don't think he can argue with the fact that I just met the criteria for his bet there. So the Turtle Moves for £2 says, Toon's Law Flerf challenges are fake, no exceptions. Except there was an exception. Mark W for £2 says, I'm a vegan, but my bacon identifies as a carrot. Do you know why flat earthers can't be vegans? Because cannibalism is illegal. They're all vegetables. Do you get it? They're vegetables. Right. Thank you very much, guys, for the super chats. I really appreciate the support. Hey, Rosie, how you doing? Nice to see you, Mr. E-Man. The Turtle Moves. Yeah, I know. Boobs are awesome. Second Best Bob says, Craig is so going to hell. I hope so. It sounds a lot more fun than heaven. I bet the parties in hell are much more fun.
Yeah.
Right. So, is there anywhere in particular that you want me to go, or should we just play it from the beginning?
No. Andrew is the opening one. I was kind of focused on. I looked at a couple of different opening statements.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much the thing that you have to prepare for the conversation. Then it will develop and it will unfold. So I thought about looking at those.
So who's he debating here? Kizimar?
No idea who he is. The one on the top, Rob Noer.
Oh, right, and the guy at the bottom is the moderator, is he?
Yes.
So, American flag. I'll tell you what, that crucible looks very, like, satanic in the background there.
Yes, it's weird.
Every evening, weekday evening. Mondays and Tuesdays, normally I'm not at home, so I do sort of an audio only. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you can see me in this fantastic studio. I will be drinking White Claws tonight because I'm lame, and I only have White Claws in the house because I no longer keep beer that's
no one cares.
like sort of.
I'm happy to open if you'd like, Rob.
Sure.
It's up to you.
Why is his mic so low?
I will say this. I know that you've titled this Christian Authority. The way this was, the starting point was sort of the idea that...
Not you, Gary. For $1.99, when pop in their super chat, Cherry says, all the support for the debate if you want it. Well, thank you very much. Of course I want the support for the debate. I feed off of your support and Flerf tears. They both nourish me. I got really fat during COVID because of all the Flerf tears. I've had to learn to, store them for later instead of just have them immediately. What I do is I condense them and it turns this color for some reason. I don't know.
That we should revoke tax-exempt status from churches, but you can take it in any direction you want. I think I know where it'll go.
That's tied in. So
yeah,
that's all.
So you can start if you want. That'll give me more of an idea.
It's a Rubik's $2 actually a NASA shill. Looks like Seth Rogen wannabe podcast. Why would you want to be a Seth Rogen wannabe? Ooh. Oh no, it's Andy for £2 says, no cash for thee. Poon makes leg stiff. No walk. That's not your leg.
Exactly.
Yeah, whenever you give the high sign, Kaz, I'll get moving.
So 7 minutes starting now.
Okay. Let me pull this up here.
That's what she said.
So let me try to preface this with Rob Noer's a pussy because he's drinking White Claw, and I don't want anybody to ever forget that that's true. Rob Noer's also a progressive, and them are fighting words out of the gate. Not.
What's he mean that he's a progressive? Why is that important?
Well, this goes to a little bit of his strategy of just strawmanning the hell out of every position, right? So he's just starting off with a strawman, the same way that we saw with the Dillahunty debate. And then he will, if played forward a little bit, and we'll round the point up.
Okay.
Not to be confused with modern-day postmodernists or utilitarian lunatics, but progressive in the classical sense of the word. Rob believes in my freedom and my constitution and my states' rights. Rob believes in all of these kind of phrases that are brought down, these maddening phrases. I thought a lot about how to tackle this debate with Rob, as even with his massive political shortcomings, he is a family man, adamant protector, father, and dutiful husband who adores his family. But all the pleasantries out of the way, his politics blow, and his epistemology is weak. I'm going to separate my arguments between what is and what ought to be, and here's what is. The Constitution is objectively a massive failure by almost every degree possible. It not only no longer reflects the values of its creators, but doesn't even reflect the values of the society in which it serves. A document that has the potential and now the use of only protecting mass degeneracy in all forms by simply appealing to its interpretation, and this is done by a couple of assholes in black.
See, there is like the giant straw man. He's saying that the Constitution is just to protect degeneracy. Never mind, never mind about we the people, rights, liberty, freedom, pursuit of happiness. Never mind all of that. He's reducing the Constitution, and I'm not an American, and this is maddening, right? He's reducing the Constitution of the U.S. into, oh, they just want to promote degeneracy. Like, what? Off the bat with like a huge straw man. That's why he's hard to deal with, because you need to be like on your toes identifying that kind of stuff. And I think that calling it out is the best way. And Sean07AU asked, is Andrew a pre-supper? Yes, he is a pre-supper. And we'll get into how to deal with the pre-sup things a little bit further down the line. But yes.
Rick to Bits, $2 says, wait, that's Andrew Wilson, so stinking vile. A lot of people have given that opinion of Andrew Wilson to me, but, you know, I haven't really met him yet, but do I like his opinions that I've seen? No. Payne51, who's been a member for 4 months, says, Craig, have fun in New Jersey and get a cheesesteak. Yeah, I'm going to get fat in New Jersey. I've got to have cheesesteak, I've got to have Taylor ham, I've got to have a hot dog, I've got to have 2 VIP dinners and a VIP lunch. Fucking hell, I'm going to just be eating most of the time. It's a Rubik's for $2 says, Andrew is 100,000% going off of a script. Yeah, what I like to do in general with my debates is take people off of their script. It confuses them.
Yes. Yes, it really happens. And it's not, I wouldn't call it a script. It's more that it's just presuppositionalist argument trash. It's like talking to Darth Dawkins. He will say, in a roundabout way, the same thing every time. Yeah. So here is the giant straw man of like, oh, the Constitution is to promote degeneracy or to defend degeneracy. But once you unravel all of that, he doesn't really have much.
If he calls me a degenerate, I'm gonna ask him to define what that means.
Oh, that's a good one. I would deal with being called a degenerate with a discombobulating joke. Like, oh, I didn't see you at the orgy last night. You are probably the guy in the suit in the corner, just sad and alone.
Yeah. Or just, wow, you must be fun at parties.
Yes.
Says, do you think this debate prep in public might be a tactical error? Oh no, it's all part of my plan.
It's, why? Why would it be?
Well, obviously Andrew could watch this, you know? And I hope he is. Hi, Andrew. Because he is someone that does research on his the people he's debating, so I imagine he would do some research on me, which means he probably will be watching this. I hope so.
Yeah. I've done debate preps, like I've done a couple of them in which I actually prepared my presentation live. There's no, if the argument is sound and your arguments are good and you're arguing well for your position, it doesn't matter that someone knows what you're going to say. It's not a problem really, at least in my view.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I really don't see what he can try and dig up about my past. You know, that there's nothing that I'm ashamed of, so I've got no worry about him attacking me personally. So anyway,
black robes, and I find this to be appalling. The Constitution is no protector against the alien.
Wait, hold on.
Forms by simply appealing to its interpretation, and this is done by a couple of assholes in black robes, and I find this to be appalling.
What does he mean? A couple of assholes. in black
Judges.
robes? Right.
Judges. But he would rather. He wouldn't trust a judge with the interpretation of the law, which is basically not done on a personal level, but it's done on an educational and on a jurisprudence level. He would handwave this means that over his personal interpretation of his personal denomination of Christianity. So he's exactly in the same corner that he's criticizing. He's hand-waving the education of the judges and the collective knowledge of the jurisprudence of the country, but then also not realizing that the church has the exact same thing. We have historical interpretations that have changed over time, and scholarship in the interpretation. It's called the science of interpreting the Bible. It's called hermeneutics, right? And that has changed so much through the ages that it's discussed and it's been debated in the First Council of Nicaea.
Right.
The Constitution is no protector against the ailments of society, and in fact makes sure to protect those ailments. Through vicious mind control propaganda, the masses have been convinced that somehow this document, which serves only to push the worst sins of society on the moral parts of society, is not only good, but we should go to other countries and kill and die for the degenerates who then spit on our graves, which is constitutional.
Wait. So he's trying to argue that Christianity being in charge would be better, and he's arguing that the Constitution says that you should go and kill people and spit on their graves. Is he ignoring, like, you know, the Crusades?
Yes. He will try. If you try to bring that up, he will do the same thing that Jim Bob did. That's not us Christians. That's those other Christians, which are not true Christians. We are the real Christians. So I would bring that up so that you can point out how that's a huge no true Scotsman fallacy.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Jim Bob went, well, Orthodox is the very original Christianity. Is there any truth to that?
No, they claim apostolic succession, but the Catholic Church also claims apostolic succession. So there is no way to know.
So it's just their word over everyone else's word. So you're right. Okay. So it is a no true Scotsman fallacy, and I will just call him out for that.
Gigantic one.
I'm just going to say Christian is Christian is Christian. Deal with it.
Yes, and it is a problem for their position that they couldn't possibly describe what is a true Christian.
Yeah. In fact, what I'll do is, sorry, if he starts the whole, oh well, I'm an Orthodox Christian, I will just ask him what the title of this debate is, and ask him to point out where it says the word Orthodox. And if he was intending to come and debate on behalf of Orthodox Christianity, then that would be the title of debate. But he's here to defend Christianity as a whole, not just his personal interpretation of it.
Yep, great point. Yep. Good, you're getting way better at this. Also, that's great. You're making a lot of progress.
Appreciate it. OG85 says, Gary, you know who you are. It's me, Craig. I think it's time to make up and become close friends, and even become my best friend for life. No, fuck you, Gary. You know what you did.
Constitutionally protected. The Constitution wasn't meant for flag-burning, seditious infiltrators, and the march of Satanism and secularism was not the intention of the people who wrote it. Like all progressive documents, progress itself got a hold of it. Progress itself interpreted it, progress changed it, and progress eliminated it. In the end,
So wait, he's trying to say that progress eliminated the Constitution, but didn't progress just add amendments to it and help it evolve with society?
Right, because when the U.S. was founded, the world was a very different place.
Yeah,
and he's trying to, the undertone of this is look at how the Constitution has been amended and interpreted, but the theology of his view, his denomination of Christianity has also gone through the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it is, he claims that it's not, but it is. And we can show how that happens over time. And the other thing is that the Constitution was actually made, and the people that came to the US were escaping what he is advocating for. So bringing up the Constitution, not really the best of things to actually go to.
He's doing what a flat earther does here. His position is supposed to be saying why Christian authoritarianism would be better, but instead he's just attacking the other guy's position. Well, no, he's attacking a straw man of the other guy's position that he's created, which is exactly what a flat earther does in a debate. A flat earther will come and create a straw man of the globe, attack that straw man, and then shit on the chessboard and claim they've won.
Yes, that's pretty much presuppositionalist apologetics. He can't really make a case for his position.
No.
And we saw this like yesterday on the debate. This happens with all these presuppositionalists. Mark Reed debated Nadir Ahmed, and Nadir did the exact same thing, which is attack, but never made a case for his position. And when in the after shows, I always say it's okay to attack the other's position, but you need to have established your case before, so you can dedicate half of your opening to make your case and half of your opening to attack the other position. But if you don't establish your case, you're already starting the debate way behind.
Yeah. Right. I'm feeling what this guy's putting down. I think with him, it's honestly less about knowing the arguments and knowing his tactics, you know?
Yes.
And his tactics, from what I can see, are telegraphed about a mile away. Right?
Yes.
And here's the thing.
And they're always the same.
Right. If you were outside of the argument, like I have been, and watching Andrew, he seems like a very eloquent, knowledgeable, confident person that can assert his position very well. Right? But that's the same as if you are outside of the argument and you listen to Austin Whitsitt, you're going to think, fuck me, that guy he knows what he's going on about. Right? If you've no idea about science and physics, right? But that's because he can just sound confident and extrude this I'm right arrogance. And that's cool. But when you actually listen to what's being said, it doesn't match.
Right. And once you get down to it, when you get in the weeds, he, for example, claims that in a very Darth Dawkins way, which is extremely low apologetics levels, is that you can't have knowledge without God. He basically, it's such a cop-out to say you can't justify logic, you can't justify knowledge, you can't justify truth.
But he's only saying that because God said so. So he's already presupposing a God for that argument to be true.
Yes. And the defeater to that, if you would just want to like mic drop, you say, I reject your presupposition, and he has nothing else. Yeah. It's a lazy thing to do. I would just do it, but also give the argument that, for example, how do we ground logic? Logic is descriptive. It's not prescriptive. So let me find two objects. I have this hand cleaner solution.
Hello, Monday debates in the chat. Yeah, I'm doing this because of James. So you've got him to thank. So hey, James in the chat, how you doing?
Hello. So the law of non-contradiction, is it descriptive or is it prescriptive? I hold that it is descriptive. So I know that this object, which is hand sanitizer, cannot be this object. That's what the law of contradiction states, that an apple is an apple and not an orange, right? So we are not prescribing, we are just describing what we see in the natural world. So that's how we can get to the laws of logic. we infer them based on the natural world, and you can definitely get through that through empiricism, applying the scientific method and materialism with no need for the supernatural.
Right. So I mean, all I've got to say to him then is that I reject it. So all I've got to say is that I reject his presupposition, and just point out that logic is grounded in empiricism.
Yes, you can explain. You are making the argument that we ground logic on empiricism, and maybe explain the law of non-contradiction is a great, easy example to just get out there, right? And what was the other thing I was going to say? And well, when we get to morality, I'll cover that. We'll cover that. No, let's continue a bit further.
Yeah. Right. We are all Golgafrinchians in for £5. Thank you very much. Interesting fact: when the potato came to Britain, Christians were scared to eat it as it wasn't in the Bible. Church leaders had to say it's okay. Yeah. So I think something very similar happened with the tomato. When the tomato was brought from wherever it was brought from, it was believed to be poison because one religious person said so, and it wasn't. It took the Italians to point out, no, this shit's delicious. You know,
and they went with their fingers like that. What it's dell'idiota.
This is fucking good shit, man. Rosie, $5. Please ask Andrew if he would agree that a society which refuses to persecute homosexuals is a degenerate, corrupt, and/or satanist society. I've got a lot of questions for Andrew. Let me just. What's his YouTube name? It's The Crucible, isn't it?
The Crucible, yes.
I can check if they're in the chat. Participations. I don't see him, but he might have had to have actually chatted for it to be able to be seen. I wonder if he's there. Guys, if you start gifting memberships and it picks him up, then I'll know he's there. Although, maybe not actually, because I did get gifted a membership for Glober Mum, even though she passed away several months ago and, wasn't on YouTube. Unless they've got really good Wi-Fi in heaven, of course.
Who knows? Maybe they get access. They can
maybe that was actually proof of the afterlife. Glober Mum getting a membership was actually just blown my position wide open, because there we go.
Yes, we are all converted.
Apparently, it's also to do with the fact that Sumi Tomato says that the tomato is cousins of the nightshade, which is highly poisonous.
And we're left with a bastion of issues that are seemingly insurmountable. Unfettered immigration, low birth rate, degeneracy, promiscuity, and junkies abound, just to name.
Right. Here's the thing. Why is low birth rate necessarily such a bad thing, right? Let's look at what's happening with high birth rates, overpopulation, famines, poverty. You end up with people that can't deal with their big families. In fact, I have been prepping and I've got like 4 different news reports of Orthodox families having a bunch of children and then being arrested for child abuse. So what is the benefit of having this extremely high birth rate rather than a low birth rate that still sustains and increases the population? Why is this an argument he keeps bringing up? I don't get. What is the benefit of having so many people?
Well, he kind of has to actually say that because of the be fruitful and multiply verse, right? The problem is that in the Bible, it doesn't specify that maybe you should actually evaluate the situation before you do that. That bringing children into a world, if you can't even have the money enough to really give them a fruitful life, then you should maybe look into not having that many children.
Yeah, it seems to me
but then
like
also
he seems that he more cares about let's get babies out there and less about what happens to them once they're out there, And
yes, a common meme. That's a common meme. Like they care about babies until they're born, and then maybe like they're kind of have like a fuck you attitude on that.
Like,
and my personal favorite defeater for this kind of thing is, well, we have gay couples wanting to adopt the straight couples' children
fucking
that get abandoned.
My wife said exactly the same thing. She made that exact point that, you know, there is gay people, trans people, you know, thruples, you know, non-regular parts of society, as Andrew would class them as, that are picking up the problems created by him and his ilk, you know, and
he would absolutely deny that.
But I can bring up examples of it, you know. Gay people want to have children, and the ones that are up for adoption are more than likely the ones that have been forced into life because they are believing what the Bible told them to, or they weren't allowed to abort, or things like that, you know. Or maybe they should have been aborted when they didn't, because otherwise they're going to be brought into a life of drugs and bad stuff. So, you know, this whole low birth rate, we must have lots and lots of babies. That's not a good thing. My argument, my debate with him, is about what's better for society, and I say that overpopulation and too many people is not better for society. There's less for everybody.
Yes. And of course, bearing in mind the carrying capacity of the earth, the limited, like, we are not being able to feed and clothe and house and educate everyone that is already here. Maybe we should focus on kind of fixing that before we continue just like, have kids. But this kind of ties with it's the same argument that Jimbo made about the duties. And we will see it on the next opening. He goes a bit harder, specifically into this idea of duties.
Well, yeah, but again, that's a presupposition, right? The idea of duties is a presupposition of the Bible.
Yes, asking him to define what are the duties and how does he get those duties would be a great point.
Right. B for $4.99, thank you very much, says, I'm a practicing Catholic and hope that you wipe the floor with this guy. Good luck and have fun in New Jersey. Well, thank you very much. Now, people seem to think that I have a problem with religious people. I don't, right? I have a problem with religion, but not necessarily religious people, right? Mm-hmm. I have a problem with religious people like Andrew and, you know, Dean Odell, that will force it down your throat and say that you're evil and a degenerate and are going to hell and blah, blah, this and that. That I have a problem with. Don't fucking tell me how to live my life. Someone like MC Toon, who, of course, I don't agree with there being a God, and I think Christianity is a bit silly, right? But MC Toon has never spoken to me about Christianity. Not once, right? Mm-hmm. He's never told me why he believes in God and why I should believe in God and why he's better than me because he believes in God and I don't. You know, it's literally never come up. So I have zero problem with religious people. What I have is a problem when religious people try to force it down my throat.
And Toon, the difference, I think the main difference is that I've heard Toon say that his belief in God is he has faith. And if you acknowledge that, then we're good. It's like, okay, you're not making a truth proposition. You have faith that there is a God. That's fine. I don't really have a problem with that.
No, exactly.
It's just the honesty of acknowledging that part. But a lot of people will just say, oh, no, I know there is a God. No, you don't.
Sean 07AU says, who's been a member for a quarter of the way around the sun, thank you. Christianity with their high birth rates are still in decline. Yeah, Christianity in general, with the percentage of humanity, is in decline, technically. It's Rubik's $2 says, not to mention gay couples don't have surprise kids. Very true. Unless, like, one of them goes and brings it home without telling them, surprise, it's a baby! Wait, what? Val for £5 says, high birth rate only helps the government with more taxpayers. That's why it's promoted so much. I guess if there's more people to pay taxes, there's more money for the government, but then also the government has to spend more money. I don't know. Taxes fucking suck. The Turtle Moose for £2 says, some Christians don't allow condoms. Yeah, and that's one thing that I'll bring up, you know, is that his whole, you know, have sex, have lots of babies, blah, 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 blah. No condoms and all this. Well, you know, STDs aren't very good for society.
Right. And we see the clear example of South Africa, which with a majority Christian nation, like really high, like 85%. Their AIDS epidemic is pretty worrying because of, and it's absolutely due to the church disavowing like condoms for use.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And of
few.
course,
Lunatics
abstinence only education never works. That's why, for example, in the US, the communities that preach abstinence only have the highest rates of teenage pregnancy and that kind of stuff. Because when you're a teenager and you're there like in the swing with Mary holding hands, and the hormones start flowing, and you have no idea what to do, and you just go with the flow, that's when accidents happen.
So the way that I figured about it for my kids is I'm going to show them what STDs do. Do you want that? No, we'll fucking wear protection then. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that like it's as simple as that. I don't want surprise grandchildren, so I will educate my children on how to do these things safely if they ever want to. I would never try and control their lives. That they're their own people. I have no right. They didn't ask to come into this world. I have no right to decide what they do in this world. My job is to make them safe. Because that's my responsibility, because I brought them into the world. So I will make them safe in the best way that I can. And the way for me, making them safe, is to educate them, rather than trying to stop them do things that they're going to fucking do anyway. Because they're teenagers.
Yep. Have taken over the asylum and have convinced us all somehow secular value structures are superior to religious value structures, even as they steal from our religion the morals they like and throw out the ones they don't have preference for.
Yeah, that's a complete straw man, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But having things that are similar does not mean they were stolen.
Yes,
right?
and it's not. In any case, it's not the Christian values that they would be stealing. Would be the Jewish values, because the Jewish religion predates theirs, and the moral prescriptions are all in the Old Testament, not in the New Testament.
Yeah, I mean, just because the Bible says this thing and secular humanism says you should kind of also do this thing, doesn't mean that it was stolen from. It just means that maybe that was a good thing that they also want to do it, but they're not taking you're denoting this value as a Christian value when that value probably existed before Christianity. So
yes, and it existed before in Mesopotamian religions, in the Egyptian religion, the Norse religion, the Greeks, like all of the religions have kind of this shared idea that murder is bad. It's not exclusively a Christian thing.
Yeah.
It's just not. And the way that we can justify this on an atheistic or a secular humanist point of view is through the intersubjectivity of things. We agree that me killing you and you killing me is a bad thing. And how can you justify this? You can justify this through pragmatism, which is what we covered on the Jim Bob debate.
Yeah.
Just because, right? That would be kind of the posh way, the sounding smart way of saying it. But then you can justify it in egoism, like I don't want to be murdered, so I will not do murder. And you can also do it the reverse way, through empathy. I know that if I hurt you, I understand that you will feel pain, so I wouldn't want to hurt you. And that applies. That's called intersubjectivity. And basically, we can get to these conclusions that way. And finally, there is something that is called moral intuition, right? Children learn, for example, when they're very young, that if they hit their pet, they whimper, right? Mm-hmm. So they understand pretty much immediately that they are feeling pain. And that is something that we share even before they can speak. When they're just like walking, they will make that connection. And that is basically called moral intuition, which is something that we pretty much all share. So there's so many ways to justify in the atheistic view morality and ethics and everything. They just don't really like to. And it's just a cop-out when they say, oh, this is all stolen from Christianity. It's not.
He's saying just the exact same things that Jim Bob said.
Yes, because they have the same arguments because they are the same type of presuppositionalists.
Yeah.
They are Eastern Orthodox.
But I'm going to use that to my advantage because that's not the title of the debate. It's a Rubik's $2 says the Bible even says faith is belief without evidence. Yeah, which just sounds fucking stupid to me.
A whole nation convinced somehow that only the secularists should hold power based around some obscure interpretation of an amendment written by deists who never intended it to even mean what it's now interpreted as meaning. The right wing must stop fearing to exercise power based on religious values. The secularists have a lot of fun words for us: fascists, Nazis. What they really mean is he uses his religion to guide society instead of a non-grounded, unprincipled worldview based on absolutely nothing.
Strawman.
Strawman. Yeah.
Isn't
hilarious.
there, a secular, what's the book called again? The Manifesto. So it's not based on nothing. There's a manifesto that gives us guidelines.
Yes. And again, I just gave you like a bunch of examples of justifications that atheists can use. And I've heard many of them being actually used effectively to justify logic, morality, and everything. He's just saying my presupposition is true and trying to just get out of the conversation entirely by saying, oh, you can't have knowledge without God. You can't have truth without God. You can't have logic without God. Well, God kind of breaks all of that because God breaks the law of non-contradiction. Could God make a stone so heavy he couldn't lift? Could God make an apple an orange and an orange an apple? If not, then it breaks the omnipotence. And if yes, he's breaking the laws of logic. So that means that nothing means anything anymore. So where do we go from there? If we can't even argue without the basic principles of logic applying, then there is literally nowhere to go. And that his presupposition breaks all of that. And that's what I would say, for example. I reject your presupposition and also give this little argument that I gave just now to show that he can't just claim truth and knowledge and logic just because. He needs to justify his belief. And
his
God
justification will always
really
be
not an
because
answer.
God says, right? That's it. So,
Yes.
and I reject that. So that's not an argument. Thunderstorm 499 says, a tip: Andrew promotes capitalism through the orthodoxy, which is a logical fallacy. Russia is not capitalist, but is orthodox. Yeah, I'm beginning to realize that everything Andrew says is a fallacy and a straw man. So I think I'm gonna enjoy this.
But I think Russia and China are as capitalistic as the U.S.
They just don't say it.
What's left of communism in China is the title. Communist China does the same computations of profit and loss that the U.S. does. Communist China maximizes profit at every turn. There is no communism right now. In my country, the left won and the Communist Party won, but we live in a world where it's a whole capitalistic system.
Yeah,
you
still need
can't
money.
be communist within that system.
Yeah. All right. I need to take a quick break and have a Riley.
All right.
I joined a temporary gym, and I went quite recently, and I drink a lot of water. So I'm just going to quickly play a song. I'll be back in 2 minutes. If you guys need a pee-pee, now is the time. In 6 days' time, I'm going to be meeting this guy.
What is a full moon
Not
and
him,
what is a
the
new
next
moon
one.
on your model?
Probably like a magnetic cycle, and just like the center of a ferrocell cell image of a magnet.
I think it's probably like a magnetic cycle, just like the center of a ferrocell spiral. Image of a magnet, it's just black in the middle. It's actually pure inertia, not just a little. In the ferrocell image of a magnet, it actually goes into its inertial state, then charges back up. It becomes like etherically displaced. Yeah. You start to see it charge up once more, and it goes back like it did before. Once it becomes like etherically spaced, you see it charge up and take its place. Oh, shucks, ain't that so? That's how moon phases work, fam. Pass the dresser. In the magnet's heart, centrifugal divergence flies. Centripetal convergence pulls. Defying all science, etheric whispers sing. Light and shadow blend, magnetic cycles spin, where physics seems to end. In the ferrocell image of a magnet, it actually goes into its inertial state, then charges back up. It becomes like etherically displaced. Yeehaw! Grab your partner, swing around, magnetic cycles up and down. Either song in the air, hillbilly science everywhere, cause it's like etherically displaced. Yeehaw! Yo, belly on up to the Wixit word salad buffet. Who has light vinaigrettes? Behind the Jugger Ranch.
Then charges back up, and once it becomes like etherically displaced again, you start to see it charge.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is when I go to meet Witz, I'm gonna bring him a vape. Here, mate, you might need this, and then I'll put on my spit cover.
Oh yeah.
Why shouldn't Christians be allowed to rule a nation?
Wait, Signa Step, you dick, says that 4 out of 5 people on the screen have facial hair. Well, fuck you, basically. So what you're saying is I'm the most evolved. Huh? Yeah.
I mean, my hair went from here to down here.
It's in the wrong place.
It kind of fell off.
Gravity proof. Ilya Lietz for 28 months has been a member and says presupposition is just a blatant attempt to avoid the burden of proof, and it's an incredibly dishonest way to argue. Agreed. Thunderstorm 499. Russia is a mixed economy, not a capitalist one. I don't know. Trump's probably going to nuke them, so it doesn't matter.
Where the most common self-identifier is Christian. Why shouldn't their morals be upheld as the standard where the most common self-absolutely nothing? Why shouldn't Christians be allowed to rule a nation where the most common self-identifier is Christian? Why shouldn't their morals be upheld?
Why should they?
Because it leads into some very nasty stuff. It leads into, for example,
the Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages, the Inquisition, the burning of the witches, and all that lovely, lovely stuff. And the problem is that it makes it so that only if you are that kind of Christian, you would be kind of safe. But they can't agree with each other. They call each other heretics. They call each other not true Christians. And that's why we have like 5,000 denominations of Christianity just in the US.
Yeah. But his is the right one because
the
he says
problem
so.
is that, for example, what do we do with Muslim people? Because they have the underlying assumption of a God existing, but they heavily disagree on a lot of the characteristics of that God. What do we do with atheist people? And remember that someone asked, I think it was Rossi or it's a Rubik's, I don't know, that you should ask what would happen if he got into like into power, what would happen to gay people? So he would probably say, "Oh, they should go to jail." So now, you would go to jail over something you have absolutely no control over, and that is who you are attracted to. There is no difference in how attraction works into how taste works. I cannot help that my favorite ice cream is blackberry ice cream, for example, right? It's just that the way my internal wiring is, I get the biggest rush when I eat blackberry ice cream. And the same way, I get the same exact sensation when I look at a redhead, right? Because that's my thing, my attraction. So now you have people in jail for just being born and being the way they are.
Yeah.
And it gets so much worse from there.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous to just make the claim, well, why shouldn't we be allowed to do that? Well, why the fuck should you?
As the standard for society instead of some nasty progressive buttbanger. Protestant churches need to have their tax-exempt status revoked. They need to once again get in the political arena and once again begin pushing for these values. Stop hiding behind their greedy money-making operations where you are taxed for the Lord so their preachers with 12 mistresses can buy a new Ferrari this year.
Well, now I do agree with Andrew on something. None of those super preachers should be making all the fucking money they are. And isn't there something in the Bible that's against that?
Yes, they are contradicting kind of the words of Jesus. Jesus advocated for giving all your riches, leaving your family, and doing exactly the opposite that these people do. So yeah, there are so many corruptions of the teachings and of the scriptures and of the interpretations, and it doesn't get him off that he's currently criticizing. But it is a huge problem if Christianity ever gave rise, ever ascended to power again. And we are kind of going through that. I think yesterday we were talking about how there is, I don't know if it's been implemented yet, but there is in the US kind of criticizing Christianity is kind of becoming illegal. So it's we're on a super slippery slope right now, and we're seeing the results of that.
Religion's so fucking dumb, man. Mark W, £5 says, religion is okay and good for the planet. It's not like it ever caused a war or anything bad to... Oh, wait. Yeah.
They need to get off their lazy asses and remember that they at least pay lip service to God and they need to start acting like it again. The original and insane Puritan Christians who settled this nation would burn their own now as heretics at the stake. The buddy Christ, be nice Christianity needs to once again go by the wayside. It's time for the last body of hope left to the West, the one institution left standing, the one place left where the right wing still has significant power to get back in the game and exercise their authority. This is a big topic, and I'm sure we'll cover a lot of ground in this debate, as I've been able to touch only on a minuscule.
I wonder where does he even get this stuff from? Because Rachel, his wife, had a debate on MDD not too long ago, and she said the same thing, that nice Christianity has to be, is not the way, and that they should combat these degenerates and all of this nonsense. And this directly contradicts the teachings of Jesus. Like Jesus said, turn the other cheek. Forgive, and there's a prayer, forgive those who trespass against us, and forgive our transgressions as we forgive those who trespass against us, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where is he getting all of this from?
His personal interpretation and belief in a god. He seems to like the evil, bad things about God, the genocide, the taking over, the forcing the beliefs. He seems to be in favor of these things.
Yes.
The nice Christianity needs to go. Yeah, you remember the not nice Christianity? Yeah, wiped out most of Europe. Yeah, that one.
And for example, when you brought up the burning of the witches, Jim Bob's rebuttal of that. Well, they didn't kill that many. So now
that's
it's
right then.
a utilitarian argument. It's like, okay, well, when does it become too many? How many people do you have to kill to consider that you're being absolutely freaking cruel and you're contradicting most of the teachings of the Bible? So, yeah, the same way Whitsitt doesn't see his internal contradictions, and the most clear example is when he said, everything is intrinsically electrostatics, bro. And then not 2 sentences later, he will deny that atoms are a thing. It's like, dude, those statements are completely opposite each other. You can't have everything being intrinsically electrostatics if you don't acknowledge that atoms are a thing.
Which is what causes electrostatics.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Play.
Amount in my opening. The Lolbitarian and progressive ethics need to go. Enough of these fucks who are too cowardly to embrace authority, so leave us at the mercy of whores, homosexuals, and degenerates to exercise it on our behalf. The meek...
Define degenerates, Andrew, and justify that, please.
Define sodomy. And Jesus was friends with prostitutes. Jesus forgave Mary Magdalene. It's like, dude, these guys don't even know their scriptures. It's it's wild.
David O'Brien says gingers make God cry. Yeah, I mean, you know, we can't help that gingers exist. Do you know what kind of train gingers aren't allowed on, Max?
I was going to say something very degenerate, but no,
they're not. They're not allowed on the Soul Train. What did ginger kids miss at the parties at weekends? The invitations.
No. Oh.
No, my wife's ginger. I can't say these things.
Oh, I love redhead.
Oh, so do I. I hot for redheads, totally. It's a Rubik's $5. Does Andrew realise how bad living conditions are in most theocracies? Why does he think a Christian theocracy would be better? Because my God said so.
The earth indeed.
Yeah, and
look around you.
Neither you nor I can really make this argument effectively. But what Andrew is actually advocating for is fundamentally un-American.
Because it's not, there's no freedom of speech, there's no freedom of belief, there's no...
Yeah.
But then again, he has issues with the fucking Constitution, doesn't he? He said that the Constitution was made by fake Christians and stuff. So, he is very un-American, it would seem.
Isn't it wonderful? And with that, I'll yield to Rob.
Well, if that's what he's got, then...
Yeah.
Should we watch the intro of the other one, or did you want to watch any of the open conversation?
Yes. No, I went through the intros on this one's.
This one's a bit closer to mine. So it's Jasmine Jafar, who is an OnlyFans star, in the top 0.01%, I think.
But she also, she will be on the Bacon, and she's also, I didn't know, she went to law school.
Yeah.
So she's an educated whore. I love that.
It'd be nice to meet a fellow OnlyFans star.
I mean, I say whore like if I'm talking with Andrew. I don't refer to no. I don't care. Yes, I'm sorry. I just wanted to clear that up because, just.
I just realized she's got a face. I've not been looking at that. Anyway.
What's up, guys?
I'm sorry, but I like boobies. I'm not going to stop liking boobies, and they're in my face.
I mean, boobies are life-giving, life-sustaining. If boobies didn't exist, we would all be extinct.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Yeah, I look at boobies, but at the end of the day, my wife's boobies are the best, and I like them the most.
Of course.
Thing is, my wife is secure enough that she knows that I can go and look at another woman and think she's pretty and sexy, but I still love her and would go back to her and would never do anything or touch anyone else ever. It doesn't matter that I think another woman might be attractive. Of course women are attractive and sexy. You know, of course they are. It doesn't change the fact that I am in love with my wife and fall more deeply in love with her every single day. You know?
I had an ex-girlfriend, and we would be walking down the street, and she would go like, "Look at that one," or like, "Look at that butt," or "Look at them titties," and I would say like, "Hey, look at that guy. You like that guy?" So yeah, there.
I'll be in the gym with my wife, and there'll be a girl doing squats, and then I go, "Fucking hell, look at her glutes." I'm like, are you telling me to look at that bum? But we're not staring at the woman. We're looking how impressive their muscles are and appreciating the work they've put in to have that, you know?
Yeah.
But then also, yeah, boobies are cool. And,
of course.
You know. Now, I know a lot of his arguments against porn and stuff is that, oh, you're helping fund child sex trafficking and this and that. And my answer to that would be, no, I like more mature women, actually.
Well, yeah, that's the giant strawman that they have. Like, the only argument against porn is that even with the industry being regulated, it is a little bit exploitative. Yeah. So that's why, for example, the debate of is OnlyFans empowering for women, is OnlyFans better for society, whatever, has been a debate topic, because it has. Yeah. And Diddley made a really great, she had 2 debates on that, and she makes a really great case that, she doesn't have to submit to a porn production, and there are so many counter arguments to their, like, porn is so bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's that kind of thing in any fucking industry. Let's look at the music industry and what's happened with P. Diddy. Let's look at the movie industry and all the, you know, you only get to have the part if you have sex with me and stuff like that. You know, any industry kind of in media has had that kind of thing involved. It doesn't mean just because you take part in that media, you're supporting that part of it. It's a massive straw man to say that every part of sex work and pornography is linked to child sex trafficking and stuff. That is in itself a straw man, you know? And that's why, I mean, you know, things like OnlyFans and that, I think it's good because it takes away from the whole, you know, big businesses running it and stuff, you know? You can do it on your own, look after your own finances, decide what you do and who you do it with, you know? And it's the same with a lot of movie stuff now. A lot more independent studios are, you know, they prefer the way they do things because they don't have to listen to the big boys that, you know, might, you know, let's think of what Joss Whedon, the amount of movies we've watched and series we watched from Joss Whedon and the horrible things he's done. And that just because I watch a Joss Whedon movie and enjoy it doesn't mean I'm supporting the horrible things that he has done. You know?
Right.
It's all a massive straw man.
And of course, the big defeater to this argument is that, okay, let's run with your thing for a second. Let's say you ban porn immediately. And I'm talking the second you ban pornography from the internet, you will just have people sharing porn in pen drives, just trading USB sticks left and right and selling them. So you will create a black market the same way that a black market was created when the U.S. decided to ban alcohol and had to backtrack that pretty quickly
the only amendment to the Constitution that's ever been reversed.
Yes, prohibition doesn't work. That's why we have drug prohibition gave us the Mexican cartels, and all of the cartels were wide. Porn prohibition would just result in more human
underground
trafficking.
Porn, with
more
less
exploitation.
Regulation. Yeah, it would be bad.
I'm masturbating.
Just because we're talking about porn, Santos. Fuck's sake.
Get back in your in the pig pen, Santos. Come on.
I want to be a urinator.
We already know that.
This morning, I went to the toilet.
Well, thanks for that.
We all do.
Okay, Santos. Anyway, let's listen to how Andrew fucks this up, shall we? She's putting those there on purpose, right?
Right.
Let's look where Andrew's eyes are at the screen. and let's just imagine that he's looking at the same screen that we are, right?
Yes.
His eyes are looking slightly down, right? I'm just saying.
We are live. So the epic part 2 to the Andrew versus Jasmine.
Don't ever call me lovely.
It was plaid shirt and dark background. Anyway, so in this debate, we're going to be focusing on different topics. We're going to be debating.
Please don't ever call me lovely, Alex.
I will call him lovely.
Ooh, that will get him going.
Does he actually
another
angry
thing?
about
Let's make a little parenthesis. I think you have two possibilities for dealing. He will insult you, like that's just a given. It's part of his strategy to try and get you riled up.
Okay, well,
I think there are two
give me some
potential
insults.
strategies to deal with his insults. The first one is just ignore it. Might be the hardest one for you.
Well,
the
give me some
other one
insults that
would
you think
be
he'd do.
just hit him back with a quip, a very poignant, quick quip, and let it go. Don't get in that game, because that's where he wins.
Okay, give me some insults that you think he'd give me.
Like degenerate and liberal cocks and all of this stuff. Depends on what he see, on what he kind of tries to. But I would suggest like rebut with a quick quip and let it go. Don't let him get you like riled up, because that is one of his strategies.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Or the
I
other
intend
one
to not
is
be
just
riled up at all.
completely ignore it.
Yeah, I intend to not be riled up at all. And I think the little quips are the way to go. And that's kind of things I'm usually quite good at. But wait, I need to give me a sec. I need to.
Plaid shirt and dark background. Anyway, here we got Jasmine looking ever so lovely, and Andrew looking also extremely lovely with his plaid shirt and dark background.
He actually got triggered by that, didn't he?
Yeah, he put on his like, I'm mad face. Like, dude, Andrew,
watch again.
Just as much of a nerd as the rest of us. Like, seriously, you're just peak on the internet. You're not a tough guy.
Watch his face when Alex guy says
Debate
he's
is
lovely.
here. We got Jasmine looking ever so lovely, and Andrew looking also extremely lovely with his.
As soon as he said lovely, Andrew looked up at the screen like, "What the fuck did you say?" Oh my god, I'm going to be calling him lovely, darling, sweetheart, princess. Oh.
Plaid shirt and dark background. Anyway, so in this debate, we're going to be focusing on different topics. We're going to be debating.
Please don't ever call me lovely, Alex. Ever.
I thought you were
this like that's just no lovely, no. Okay. Let's not.
Andrew, look.
Why, Andrew? Does your boner get a bit confused?
Yeah.
Does it make you tingly in the pants?
A man gave me a compliment. Oh, I like it. I don't know. I mean, I don't like it, mad Andrew. CJ Lamru, $2 says for the tatas. I mean, her boobs are taking up about 3/4 of the screen, right?
Damn. Yes.
I mean, she's an OnlyFans star. She puts them out there. I'm allowed to talk about them, okay?
But I don't know if you know this. I am a sapiosexual, which means that, yeah, she's pretty, but then she starts speaking, and she makes sense. She's eloquent. She's smart. So that makes her like even hotter. Sapiosexual is just, being attracted to intelligence.
Yeah, I'm attracted to intelligent people and feisty redheads.
Yes.
Looking ugly and horrendous. Andrew looking horrendous as ever. Okay, anyway, so the two topics are what's better for.
Is he smoking a cigarette?
Oh yeah, he chain smokes like a.
Oh my lord!
Like a dude in death row.
He's got no right to call anyone a degenerate. I'm gonna rip him apart about fucking cigarettes.
Oh yeah. No, well, he. You see him in a lot of debates. He's like chain smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. Like, dude, you're not an intellectual. This is just crazy.
Whereas I'm here smoking weed, the much more intellectual thing.
society, Christian nationalism versus secularism, and should women get married and have kids young. So 2 interesting topics. The format's going to be the same. Both people get to make a 1-2 minute opening statement. I'm not going to be a Nazi about the time, but let's keep it under 3 minutes. After that, it's going to be just open panel discussion, and then there'll be a quick closing statement. Okay, so let's start off with the first topic, which again is, I believe we said Christian nationalism versus secularism, correct?
That's correct.
All right, cool. So that's the first topic. Let's I guess we'll just switch off. So for the first one, I'll have you give your opening statement first, Jasmine, and then we'll switch off. And for the other one, I'll have Andrew go first.
Okay, so
Do we
yeah,
need to listen to Jasmine's, or should we just switch, move over to Andrew?
Yeah, it's short. It's short.
Right.
And then I have one more that I would like, because we've been evaluating Andrew. And I think Mark made a fairly decent opening yesterday on a positive case for secular humanism that happened on MD. I'll get you the link in just a sec. But we can also go at it from the other side, take some pointers on how to build, an opening, and someone who is really experienced in debating the topic, which is Mark Reed.
Cool. Awesome. I like that. Thank you.
I believe secularism is much better than not Christian nationalism because it contributes to human flourishing and justice a lot more. One of the biggest factors that influences this belief is that I love America and I'm really proud to be an American. My parents immigrated from Iran after the 1979 revolution, where religious law is the law of the land. In that case, it's Sharia law. So I being here and not only being able to experience the freedoms I have, but with going through law school and having the educational attainment that I've had, learning about how this country was founded made me appreciate those privileges even more. We were the first nation to be founded on a separation of church and state, and I think it's one of the reasons this is the greatest country on earth. Our Constitution starts with the words, "We the people," and that is where we get our power and authority. There are no references to God or religion in the Constitution except for the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It's also in Article 6 when it says no religious test shall ever be required to any office or public trust under the United States. The founding fathers set up our country this way because they knew the dangers of not doing it. And secularism is what grants us the freedoms we have: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of privacy, and so forth. It allows us to ground our legal framework in principles that ensure justice, individual rights, and overall well-being of society. Instead of focusing on religious dogmatism, we use rational and evidence-based approach to influence policy. And we can just see from the evidence that it works out better. The most secular countries in the world today fare much better on nearly every measure of peace, prosperity, and social well-being, including infant mortality, life expectancy, educational achievement, economic prosperity, freedom, and so forth. We have lower murder rates, violent crime in these countries. Even if you look at states, which I thought this was really interesting, on every measure of social well-being, from poverty rates to STDs to DUIs, the most secular states, or like the least religious, tend to also fare better than more religious states. And yeah.
Cool. All right.
So she won then.
Short, sweet, made very compelling and clear point. You don't have to make elaborate, like overly philosophical points.
No. But the fact that she, just like Val says in the chat, the fact that she got hotter when she started speaking was quite impressive.
Yes.
Like, I mean, okay, maybe this can be seen as me secularizing her a bit, but I think it's in a positive way. No one can deny she's hot. She's an OnlyFans star. She's got huge tatas. She's extremely sexy. But that all got more when she started speaking, which is refreshing and incredible. And yeah, the fact she started with like, I went to law school. It was like, okay, I'm gonna look at her face for a bit now.
Yeah, I can't wait. She's debating on DebateCon, so I'm
I know.
really...
I'm gonna get to meet her. Looking forward to it.
Let me check. What is she debating on? 1 second. Oh, she's debating Alex Stein. It's OnlyFans bad for society.
Yeah.
Okay, I can make a prediction right now. Alex Stein will just call her a whore. She will have no argument throughout the whole thing, and will just say, like, because he has had a debate on that kind of topic of OnlyFans, and his only argument is, you're a prostitute, you're a whore, you show your butthole on the internet. And that's all he said for the whole thing. That's the extent of Alex Stein's argument.
So he's a prude then.
Yes.
So yeah, that's it. So his personal feelings, right? Cool story. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the debate against Andrew Wilson, but I'm more looking forward to the debate against Alex Stein, because that's just going to be a complete and utter shit show. It's going to be fucking hilarious. Yes. I cannot wait.
Alex Stein is debating today, and the topic is saying trans women aren't women. Is saying trans women aren't women transphobic?
Well, yeah. I mean,
but they don't like to say that.
No debate needed, really.
Andrew, you are up.
Now, Jasmine, my opening is going to be a bit longer than yours. I hope that you'll humor me as I go through it. If you want to give a bit of a longer response, that's fine. But
okay.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. People are always requesting that I talk more about my views of rights, what I think a right is and what I think it isn't, and how this interacts with the world. This debate between worldviews seems like a perfect time to lay this out. The difference between Christian nationalism or Christian futurism, the Christian right in general, and neo-progressives, those being communist, socialist, and even the modern right wing, is this very idea of rights.
Did you catch that?
No.
Okay, go back a little bit. Go like two or three taps to the left.
It seems like a perfect time to lay this out. The difference between Christian nationalism or Christian futurism, the Christian right in general, and neo-progressives, those being communist, socialist, and even the modern right wing, is this very idea of rights.
He's putting communists, liberals, and even the right wing, like all in the same, like it was all the same. So everything he doesn't like is the same thing. It doesn't matter if they are completely diametrically opposed, like communism and the right. It's it's aggravating.
It's whatever he doesn't like is the other side.
Yes. With like a huge category error in that the right is nowhere near the left. It's just...
Who is this Alex, by the way? Because he looks like he's had his nose broken a few times. Is he like a fighter?
Who? I don't know. I don't know who that guy is.
Playing with fire. Never heard of it.
And you saw Jasmine brought this up. A right from our worldview is just an entitlement, absent duty and virtue. You do nothing for it.
Say that again?
From our worldview is just an entitlement, absent duty and virtue. You do
an entitlement
again with the duty nonsense. Like,
what's he say there?
Define the duties, give where they come from.
I'm just trying to. What did he say? An entitlement absent.
Thing is this very idea of rights, and you saw Jasmine brought this up. A right from our worldview is just an entitlement, absent duty and virtue.
Entitlement absent duty and virtue.
Yes.
What do you mean absent duty? Am I missing what you're saying there?
You do nothing for it. You just our worldview is just an entitlement, absent duty and virtue.
Okay, what does he mean absent duty?
Because they think that in order to get rights, and he clarifies this just a little bit later, he thinks that in order to get rights, you must fulfill your duties. So rights are no longer inalienable. They are only if you do what we say, you get your rights. Like absolutely disgusting.
So it's a reward rather than something that you are given to because you're human.
Yes.
The fuck?
You do nothing for it. You just have it. The great lie, however, is that these entitlements, rights, they can't even exist. You see, when these entitlements get put into practice, we see one side or the other of the political paradigm move to either expand or remove the entitlement. This is based around the different perceptions of duty. So when we apply what is the responsibility or duty of having the right in practice, we can't agree. So we move most often to limit the entitlement because, after all, like most entitlements, they become abused, bastardized, and ultimately subverted from their original intent. This is due to the fact that such entitlements or rights, if you want to call them that, can really only exist in practice if we have a virtuous society that pushes duties assigned to each entitlement. So each.
Wait. What?
The fact that such entitlements or rights, if you want to call them that, can really only exist in practice if we have a virtuous society that pushes duties assigned to each entitlement. So each one is earned or practiced correctly.
Right. So he's saying that rights can only exist if we have a society that's good and is rewarded with those rights.
Yes. And if they are practiced correctly. Who is the arbiter? Is it your interpretation, Andrew? Who will be the ultimate authority on that?
Yeah.
Why is it your standard that we should follow and not some other standard? This is, again, the same presuppositionalist argument going back to he wants his interpretation of the Bible and he wants to be supreme overlord of the U.S.
So basically, he just doesn't believe we should have rights unless we do what God says.
Yes. And a little caveat to that, what his version of his denomination of the Christian doctrine, so it's like, it's a couple of levels down than that, you know?
Right.
Disgusting. Country has 45% atheists, and the Archbishop of Montevideo has to go into like open air TV to cry for people to go back to the church because they're hemorrhaging followers.
As it fucking should be. All churches should be like used to house homeless people, man.
Yeah.
This applies to all of your so-called rights. Is it virtuous to yell fire in a crowded room with no fire? The answer is no, so we limit that right. Is it virtuous to speak truth to power, on the other hand? Yes, though the extent of that...
No one... Okay, you have the right to shout fire in a crowded room. You can do that all you want. However, there could be consequences to that. Like if the fire brigade turn up, you have to pay them.
Yes.
You still
or
got
if
the
someone
right
gets
to do
hurt in the stampede or something like that. Yeah, you.
What Andrew's missing here is that the right to do something doesn't mean you're free of the consequences of doing that thing.
Yes, and they constantly forget that.
That must also be negotiated.
And then, like, yeah, these ideas of duties are kind of like super weird. He gets into a little bit deeper, so they're run out.
Is it virtuous to own a gun? No. Is it virtuous to own a gun to defend your family? Yes. Is it virtuous to own a gun to hurt innocent people? No. So really, what is actually being argued over is the duties and virtues that citizens must have in society and their responsibilities to themselves and others. And the fight over these entitlements ultimately yields nothing good, as they just become eroded by the distinct worldview differences in how to apply responsibilities and duties to them, which is why a right or an entitlement is just ultimately whatever the guy with the power says it is. Jasmine here is going to argue tonight against Christian nationalism from the basis of rights. I called it, and she did, a laughable position for a secularist to take, as what she considers entitlements are just sets of preferences which ultimately don't maximize utility or consequences for the society.
Another one of his straw man saying it's just preferences. It's not, because it's not about an individual's preferences. It's about what's best for society. And in the framework, let's put the example of abortion. Okay, what happens if we don't allow abortion? Then abortions will still happen. They will happen underground, putting not only the fetus at risk, but the mother also. So now, if your ideal is to have more kids, then now you have one less woman to have more kids. It's a defeater over their own argument. So what happens if we allow abortion? Now, if someone wants to have an abortion, they can have an abortion safely and then can have more kids in the future. But it also contemplates that if you think that abortion is wrong, you can just not get it. And it allows for people with very different opinions to live their life to their fullest. So don't want to abort? it's okay. Don't abort. No one is forcing you. Oh, don't. Do you want to abort? Because you don't. Because whatever. Then yes, you can abort. I'm sorry, I messed up my camera. I'll get it right back.
Max isn't there. I'm so scared.
Yes.
I'm alone.
Yeah, right. I'm back. So what is basically here is the debate between like freedom and authoritarianism, and he clearly identified in the last opening that we saw that a lot of his views are kind of like Yahtzee adjacent, to say the least.
Oh yeah, it does seem that way.
Society that she claims to value so much. From her worldview, you have a right to fuck your sister on camera while people masturbate. She thinks you have a right to sleep with a dead body if nobody ever found out about it because it hurts nobody. She thinks
That's false.
Okay.
Having sex with a dead body is inherently harmful because diseases and stuff can be passed around to society after that.
Yes, that is the utilitarian argument, but they're not looking for that. He has rhetorical ways to dismiss the utilitarian argument. The better argument, and it is something they honestly, in my experience, they don't really have a rebuttal because they don't truly understand the concept of consent. So here we go. Consent. And before we get into it, it's so weird that they always have to take it to like necrophilia, incest, abuse, and all of this like absolutely horrible stuff that our moral intuition would certainly tell us that it's wrong. And you can basically just justify it on moral intuition alone. But we'll go one step deeper. When we're talking about corpses, the problem with consent is that consent has two parts, and they don't acknowledge this. Consent has two parts. Consent has the initial yes, and then it has either the continuation of the consent or the non-revocation. So the consent must be given and not revoked or enthusiastically continued. Those are the two parts of consent. Mm-hmm. So even if you get someone who signs a contract saying that they're willing to have their corpse be used in that way, that corpse cannot continue giving the consent. The best example is you meet up with someone at a bar, you get drunk, go to his or her place or your place, whatever, and you start having sex. That person passes out. What do? Can you continue? Or do you have to stop? I would agree, because of the two parts of consent, that you would have to stop because that person at that time doesn't have the ability to either continue giving you the consent or revoke it. So the moral thing to do would be to stop.
Yeah. So that's really good. One of the arguments that I would try and put back to him is what I did to Jim Bob, and Jim Bob just kind of dismissed it, is, okay, but what if God said it was okay to have sex with corpses? Jim Bob's response was, well, that's outside that's a logical impossibility for God to do, so I don't have to respond to it. But
bullshit. He could perfectly say that.
Yeah, that's not the point of hypotheticals, right? A hypothetical is a what if. So what if it was logically possible for God to say that, and he said it was okay? Would that mean that it was okay? Because you're basing what you say as what is right and wrong on what God says.
Yeah, he would have to forcefully kind of agree with that. If God said it's okay, then it's okay. There is no way around that. But that was sneaky because I remember Jim Bob saying that you were using, when you talked about women and developing in the scientific fields, he was like, oh, well, that's the exception. And it's like, dude, Jim Bob, you're talking about like necro stuff and abuse and the PDF stuff. Like, you can't be making this argument. Are you serious?
Yeah.
You use the exceptions, but when I bring the one exception, you cry. Like, this is ridiculous. But better than the God argument, I think the consent argument is a bit better because it's actually more articulate and it develops and it shows and puts them in evidence that they have no idea what consent even means.
Yeah. I guess the way he could come back with that is if they said, you know, the consent continues even if I can't say it or something.
Well, they can say that, but then they would have to acknowledge that in the little example that I gave, that it would be morally okay to continue having sex with someone who is passed out.
Yeah.
And that would just, if they do that, then that will just make them look horrible. That's kind of like one of those trick questions that you're kind of playing for the audience. So if they would admit that, then okay, sure. Don't pass out around Andrew.
Okay in the chat says that I'm using bad tactics and I'm gonna get smoked. I'm sorry. Preparing for the debate is bad tactics. I guess we shouldn't be doing this, Max, because apparently doing a preparation and going over the arguments is bad tactics.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot of people that prepare for debates, and none of what we're saying is just it's new. These are known arguments. These are not inventing stuff. Like all of this has been said before. These debates have been going forever. So what's like? It's not like no one knows this, and we are just having secret knowledge.
So, do you think Andrew watches porn?
Yes.
Do you reckon if I said to him on stage, "Let me see your search history," he would?
Well, I mean, I think he's probably smart enough to Control-Shift-P and go into private mode, but yeah.
You know that doesn't matter. You can still see where they've been even in incognito. It's all stored in the back end, which you can access through developer mode. So I could check
fair
that.
enough.
So,
but for example, when the Republican convention went to when there was the last RNC, Republican National Convention, Grindr crashed on that city because there were so many people trying to use that, and I can get you a link to that. So a lot of these people are some of the biggest hypocrites when it comes to porn consumption, when it comes to a lot of them getting caught in like gay nightclubs and all this kind of stuff. Yes, that's a nice like little jab there. I wouldn't like harp too much on it, but yeah, it's a nice little jab to mention it in passing and see what he says.
Yeah, I think I might do that. I'm just going to ask if I can see his search history and see what comes up. If he starts going on about porn and that, I'd be like, "Let me see your search history, Andrew." And if he goes no, I'd be like, hiding something.
Institution is just swell in society and pornography.
Oh, look, more bad tactics, priceless.
Oh. Okay, you seem to think that you know how to debate this. Would you like to set up a debate with me? Yeah, watch him chicken out and fold like a cheap suit.
I feel like you should have debated Andrew Wilson on Modern Day Debates by now.
Once I'm talking with James, I will. I'll try. And I'm also trying. James told me that the next DebateCon will be DebateCon 6 in around October. So I'm starting getting a campaign going, Max to DebateCon 6. So drop by MDD when there's a debate and just hashtag Max to DebateCon 6. And maybe we can get it done.
He's doing 2 this year, is he?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because you have a fundamental right to do so based on nothing more than her preferences. So I give you this hypothetical experiment, which maps on well to reality. Assume I came to the Christian worldview of ethics absent the belief in God. I believe everything they believe in regard to morals, but just don't accept that God is real. Jasmine, on the other hand, says the entirety of all human morality is adjudicated by her preferences, no different than I do in this hypothetical scenario. How do we determine who is right? We would have to go by utility or consequences. So I would like Jasmine to explain how a mother of 3 has less utility to society than an OnlyFans prostitute who has sex on Twitter for money. How does it maximize utility or give good consequences to allow incest? How is it maximum utility to allow necrophilia?
But it doesn't allow incest or necrophilia.
We don't.
No.
We don't. And I will give you like a quiz note of the justifications. Incest, the problem is the power imbalance. You always have, there's always an imbalance in the relationship that makes it inherently abusive. So that's why and no one allows that. No one allows incest. No one allows necrophilia. And we already talked about how to justify. I would justify it based on consent. Also mentioning the health hazards are like a thing.
Yeah.
And you can even go, I don't personally like it, but you can even go with moral disgust, which is an actual argument. I don't like it because it's just like, yes, the grand majority of people would consider it disgusting, and that is an argument. Moral disgust is an argument based on the precept of moral intuition. So there's so many ways, and this is just ridiculous. Like how it's like, oh yeah, if we have secularism, everyone will be doing stuff with corpses and what? No, they won't.
No, that's the thing. Like, let's assume that secular humanism says that that's okay. How often do you feel like going and fucking a corpse, Max?
Never.
Yeah, exactly. So even if it was allowed to do, it's not something that you would want to, because it's morally reprehensible, right?
It is morally reprehensible. It goes against my views on consent. It's a potential health hazard. Smells, moral disgust. There's so many ways to justify not actually doing it. So even if it was legal, I would not do it.
Plus, I think one of my arguments would be to ask him, could you tell me which secular society has a law that says it's okay to fuck a corpse?
Yes. That would be one,
because I can point to laws in secular societies that say you can't do that.
Yes. But we have to be very careful, and this is a good point. We have to be very careful in ethical debates to not start making legal arguments. And Jim Bob did that a lot, and you kind of failed to identify that Jim Bob was jumping from an ethical argument into a legal argument and back and forth because he was super sneaky, and that was just a fault on your part because of the lack of experience on the topic. Yeah. But you need to be very careful and mindful that they don't start going from an ethical argument to a legal argument. Because if we are just going to make legal arguments, then we just talk about the laws, right? Mm-hmm. We need to talk about what ought to be, what should happen. The law to this debates in particular are irrelevant, actually.
Well, when I'm talking about society, though, aren't laws relevant because they're part of society?
No.
Because my debate is specifically on about what's better for society, right?
Yes, but if Andrew had his way, the laws would change. So yeah, it's a very thin line between an ethical debate and a legal debate, but you don't want to get caught up in your opponent say you're making legal arguments and not ethical arguments.
Yeah.
Because the idea would be like this. First, we decide what is ethical, and then based on the ethics, we make the laws. You don't do it backwards.
And most importantly, how would my Christian nationalist society give bad outcomes by simply outlawing all of these things, all of them? What's more, how does society...
Simple. You already said that. You outlaw porn, then it becomes an underground market because people are going to fucking do it anyway.
Yep.
And then there's
And it
no
will become
legislation, there's no regulation, there's no, health monitoring. That there's no rules or anything behind it. It becomes an underground bad thing. Exactly like when prohibition became a thing. Not only was it then alcohol was run by criminals, but the alcohol that was produced wasn't regulated. So just the people drinking the alcohol were in danger because they could be drinking stuff that was actually poisonous because alcohol was outlawed, and so was the production of alcohol in the United States, which meant that the regulations behind it went out the window.
Yep. That's a counter argument. That's a perfect counter argument to him wanting to outlaw all of these things. And then when it comes to, gay people and trans people, it's like, okay, how are you going to legislate what people do in their room? You would need a force or a camera in every bedroom and everywhere pretty much. It is not feasible to make having gay sex be illegal. Because we can just go to the middle of the countryside and do it there. It will still happen. There is no stopping it. The same way there is no stopping porn.
Yeah. That's why I kind of think, and this isn't the most popular opinion, but I honestly think that legalizing all drugs with regulations is the better way to go. Because no matter how much you ban and fight against drugs, people are going to want to take drugs, right? Cannabis, all right? Cannabis is illegal in my country, but I need it for painkilling because pharmaceuticals, like chemicals from the pharmacist, don't actually work. They have side effects like out the wazoo, and they don't really help with the pain. The only thing that fucking helps my pain is this, right? But because it's legal here, I have to go to people, and I don't know how strong it is or how good it is. I don't know what I'm fucking funding. I could be giving money to someone that's then giving money to someone that's funding terrorism. I don't know. But I'm still going to use it because I fucking need it. And
I agree with that. And I tried to have that debate on MVD, but it didn't go through.
Yeah, I would very much like a drugs legalization debate with somebody. But, I don't, I'm not saying meth and heroin is a good thing, right? But the fact is, if people want to take it, no matter how many laws there is against it and how many places are shut down, other places are going to pop up and people are going to use it. So the best way to deal with it is to educate and make it safe to do so people stop dying and, they're not going to take some fucking cocaine that's laced with, fentanyl or something. So it just seems like the stupid thing to do to have this war against drugs and get rid of it because it's never going to get rid of it.
Yes. And, for example, I have made the argument that as a drug connoisseur, I've never done cocaine. I've never done crack and that kind of stuff. Why? Because I had education and I had access to actually fun drugs. I've done a shit ton of LSD and a lot of ecstasy, but because I know what the chemical differences are and that I was knowing how to do them safely, how to stay safe while doing stuff that I probably shouldn't have done, like taking 10 drops of LSD.
Yeah.
Even when I was being unsafe, I was actually also still being safe because I kept hydrated throughout the whole thing. Yeah. I increased the things, I increased the doses until I built up to being able to do 10 drops of LSD at once. So, and if people have access to fun drugs, they really wouldn't have the need to do life-destroying drugs.
No. I've taken, I use cannabis, and I've taken mushrooms once, and I've used DMT once, just because I wanted to experience it and I knew that those things aren't addictive.
Right.
You know, I'm educated, and again, when I did that, I made sure I was in a safe place, and you know, I was hydrating and everything. But you know, again, I had to go to a bad place to get those, rather than somewhere where it would have been safe and regulated. I wanted to do it, and I was going to do it regardless of the laws. You know, so wouldn't it make sense to, you know, help people instead of making it illegal? Because you make it illegal, you chuck them in prison, where they're probably going to be selling their ass for cannabis in there instead, you know?
All right. I have until the next hour that debate will be starting on MDD.
Okay.
So I wanted to show you this. I'll send you the link on the Zoom chat.
Yeah, just my
so we
super
can
chat,
take
Sam.
a look at how Mark did his opening. It wasn't the greatest of openings, but I think it was fine.
Yeah.
Just to get some ideas on how to build a case.
Some people are asking me what happened when I took DMT. I don't know if I got the greatest stuff, because all that happened was everything turned really bright with colors, and then the straight lines started wobbling, and I felt like I was floating a little bit, but that was it. I didn't meet any fractal pixies or anything, which I was really disappointed about. But yeah. Steroy for €6 says the deep dark web is easier and safer to explore than ever before. Banning porn will just lead to people going dark. Yeah. It's Rubik's $2. Drugs are bad. Okay.
Yeah, not just the dark web. Like, if the second porn gets banned, and other stuff will start coming up, like just trading of USB thumb drives, and those are completely untraceable. There is no control. Like, people can just swap it in the bus without anyone noticing. It will just be like a massive shit show. We can for sure say prohibition hasn't worked. The war on drugs has failed. If you start the same thing with porn, you will lose. There is no winning that war. Absolutely no winning.
Yeah.
Like, literally zero chance.
So let me just quickly clarify one of the things I mean about drugs. I'm not saying that drugs are good and everyone should have drugs, right? I think if the education was there, then eventually people would probably stop wanting it. You know, if the help was there for people, rather than penalizing it and making it unsafe. If we made it safe so people aren't dying, but then helped people realize why the addiction behind drugs is an extremely bad thing and how it destroys families and stuff, that's not going to go away. The addiction and everything, that's still going to be there, even if it's safe to use. That's why the important thing is the help to, get people out of the addiction cycle and things like that. But,
and helping them not get into. Like, I did drugs a long time, and then my life kind of took a turn, and I started, DJing more. So instead of I continued going out clubbing, but I was DJing rather than just going dancing. So it was in a professional setting. So I started not taking drugs, and then I stopped even doing weed. Now I've been sober for like a long time, except that stream we did in New Year's where I chain smoked a bunch of weed.
Dude, when you and I eventually meet, we're getting high together. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it will happen at some point. It will.
Yes,
right. Before we get into this, I'm going to take another quick pee break. All right. I'll be 2 minutes, guys. Back. Enjoy the stupid song.
Yo, listen up, it's your boy Birch in the his house. Plan so slick, gonna make your pockets this house. I got an app that's gonna change your life, but before you download, let me slice through the strife. They say the earth's a globe, but I beg to differ. I'll make you believe, I'll make you shiver. Spectroscopy needs a container, that's my claim. I've got no clue, I just hang my head in shame. Yo, listen up, it's I got an app that's gonna change your life. But before you download, let me slice through the strife. They say the earth's a globe, but I beg to differ. I'll make you believe, I'll make you shiver. Spectroscopy needs a container, that's my claim. I've got no clue, I just hang my head in shame. But shut up, that's the line I'm preaching. Sell my app, it's what I'm seeking. Fake challenge, try your luck. While I'm laughing, pocketing a buck. I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
Flat Earth, that's the lie I'm preaching. Sell my app, it's what I'm seeking. Fake challenge, try your luck. While I'm laughing, pocketing a buck. I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
I'm a scammer.
Yo, Dave Weiss is a scammer. Talk about Antarctica, the icy place. I offered a free trip, dangled it in my face, but I won't go. It's not about thrift. I'm staying home, gotta protect my grip. I'm a scammer. I'm a scammer. Yo, Dave Weiss is a scammer. Talk about Antarctica, that icy place. Offered a free trip, dangled it in my face, but I won't go, it's not about thrift. I'm staying home, gotta protect my grip. I'm a scammer. Antarctica, that icy place. Offered a free trip, dangled it in my face, but I won't go, it's not about thrift. I'm staying home, gotta protect my grip. I'm a scammer. The scammer, I play the game. Gonna hustle hard, gonna rise to fame. But remember one thing, it's all a ploy. To make that green, I'll be your decoy. So if you wanna join, come take my hand. But beware the tricks, it's all planned. TITRH, that's my name. In the world of scams, I got the fame.
I'm a scammer.
Have you heard, Max, that Dave Weiss is a scammer?
Oh my, yes, it's so holy cow. The storm that is brewing for Mr. Potato.
Oh goodness me, yes. The exposure that came out today by Toom was quite impressive. Yeah. It's a Rubik's $5 says, my mum is a Muslim convert. Boy, do I have thoughts on Islam. Oh dear, sorry to hear that. Right.
Against Inspiring Philosophy, Mike Jones on Saturday, February 15th,
Look,
and
it's
Andrew
me.
Wilson against atheist Craig McNeil, as well as other debaters, including David Wood and Apostate Prophet. So click below to grab your tickets right now, as some ticket types have already sold out. You don't want to miss out on this cultural moment.
I mean, the fact there that I'm like, alongside Lawrence Krauss in like the same league. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool.
That's cool, yeah.
Lawrence, lots of people have sent me pictures of Lawrence Krauss, put his arm around Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm like,
did you hear the latest development on like the whole controversy thing? David Wood will be debating this Gnostic informant guy.
Yeah.
And that guy thinks that Muhammad didn't exist. So David Wood, who is like, his whole channel is about combating Islam and Dawah, he will be arguing that Muhammad actually did exist. So it's a weird interaction. I'm kind of super excited for that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the debates. And I'm going to be helping out a bit as well because Ryan isn't going, so I'm kind of be picking up some of his duties while I'm there. So I'm looking forward to interacting with everyone and stuff. Right.
That's starting Saturday, February 15th in Newark, New Jersey, with 2 full days of debates. So click below to grab your tickets right now so you don't miss out. Baitcon 5 is app Joe. Click 15. Your ticket right now.
Little bit like you said.
Statement. Thanks for secular humanism, and we are starting right now with Mark's opening statement. Thanks.
Right. Someone needs to get James a better camera because it looks like he's got a potato.
Yeah. And also a microphone stand. He holds it and sometimes he puts it right up to his mouth.
It does.
Look like this, so do that.
Yeah, and clips the hell out of it. And I have all like professional audio gear like this. These are music production headphones, and I have my speakers are JBL studio monitors. So when he clips, I go like, oh.
Mark Reed, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, James. And I'll just share my screen. I apologize. I'm a little bit disorganized this morning, even though I got up early because I actually messed up the entire time zone thing. So I've been going for an hour,
I've seen Mark Reed debate against the flat earther, and he was quite good at it.
Yeah, Mark is great at debating, but this is his bread and butter.
Right. I'm looking forward to hearing
his
this
channel is called Mark Reed Atheism, after all.
I might just hit him up for a brief chat before as well.
Just going for an hour or so. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I just shared. Yep, no problem for society. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to James, and thank you, Nadir, for being my opposition today. And thank you for giving me your time to talk about this subject. Now, first off, I do want to go through some things very, very quickly. I do apologize. I've got the wrong screen. It's all going downhill. There we go. Okay, so first off, I want to go over what ethics and morals are quickly. Don't worry, I won't bore you too much with details. I just want to run down what we are talking about and sort of how it comes, how it actually relates to societies, how we actually talk about these things in relation to societal change and societal institutions. Morality, what we are talking about is a normative definition of morality. So instead of describing morality, we're really just talking about what we ought to do, what should be the process, or what should be the code of conduct that people should follow. And that's sort of what we're talking about with morality. So the question comes that if there is a code of conduct that informs morality, where does that code of conduct come from? This is what we're talking about when we're talking about ethics. So essentially, ethics is the study of morality, why it should be implemented and what it's trying to achieve. Ethics takes a broad view, and it's usually applied across large societal groups rather than any individual moral system, which moral decisions can be applied to. This can be across countries or, for instance, business ethics across a field or a profession. So when we're talking about ethics, we're really talking about the moral framework adopted by any group of people. In this case, we'll be looking at these frameworks in the view of which would be better for any society. Now we're going to talk about the actual secular humanism, which
Right, so morality is what is right and wrong, and ethics is why do you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I do want to focus on. Humanism is a philosophy that denies any supernatural aspects of our lives, but it also gives a framework in which we can morally live for something that benefits humans. Now, I really want to stress in this that secular humanism is not just secularism. Secularism being neutral towards religions or independent of religion or any kind of belief. Secular humanism really stresses that humans, the greater good of humanity, is the goal of that philosophy. It relies a lot on utilitarianism, which promotes some kind of value or utility. Now, just long story short, secular humanists generally promote human well-being. That the well-being of humans is the utility that they want to promote. Some of them do take a negative stance and say they try to minimize human suffering. I'm a person that takes a positive utility. I do want to promote human well-being. Then I can, in virtue of this, I can say any act that leads us towards that is good, and any act that takes us away from that is bad.
Now, pause it 1 second. If you watch Matt Dillahunty, for example, Matt Dillahunty takes the opposite approach, and to Matt Delahanty, it's all about reducing harm. So you can basically take both ways. It's whatever you feel most comfortable arguing for. But there is one detail I would disagree with Mark, is that you don't necessarily have to ground it in utilitarianism. There are other avenues. That's the one that he personally takes, but there are a few different ones.
I mean, the way I see it is that if you seek to increase human well-being, then that's naturally going to decrease suffering, and vice versa. If you aim to decrease suffering and harm, that's going to increase human well-being. So, although, I mean, I kind of see them as the same thing, really.
Yeah, it's just like a different angle of attack, basically.
Yeah.
Of that kind of saying the same thing from a different perspective.
Either of them are aiming to make humanity flourish, right?
Yeah.
To understand that even though we seek human well-being, it's not necessarily our own well-being. We have to keep in mind that in order for any of us to flourish, we do need a flourishing society. So there is a balance to be made between the well-being of the human and the well-being of the society. If you think about it this way, you can't have a well society if everybody in it is not well. So if every single person is somehow not well, then the society will not be well. At the same time, people can't be very well if the society itself is not, because they will rely on that flourishing society in order to be have a good life or have the things that they need to have a good life. So
do you want to
how do we
increase it in speed a little bit? Because I have like 20 more minutes.
Right, okay.
Evaluate this utility well-being. Since secular humanists reject any supernatural agents, we have to rely on other ways to tell us what is good or bad for humans. Generally, we will rely on science to sort of tell us what it is that's good and what it is that's bad for human beings. Science is a methodology. It basically will tell us about the world around us, but we can't actually use it to tell us what we ought to do or not do. We can use a number of these discoveries in science, like take, for instance, nuclear fission. We can use it to make power plants or destroy ourselves. Science doesn't tell us how we should use it, and that's where we need other moral systems. So we can study human well-being and make certain evaluations on things that are good and things that are bad. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, this is a very simplistic diagram, and I'll show you sort of something more complicated later, but this is sort of the base level of needs that humans need to be well, going up to sort of self-fulfillment, things that are fulfilling potential of humans and not just the base level needs. Now, it's a lot more complicated than this, but if we can say to each other, we want human well-being to be the thing that we are after, we can then say that things like it is an objective fact that in order to be well, a human being needs water. Without water, we can categorically say that a human will not be well. We can, put this also into terms of psychological needs. We can say without intimate relationship, friends, belongingness, we also will not be well. In that way, we can define human well-being as the physical and mental health of humans, and sort of work towards what goes towards that goal and what goes away from that goal. Now, this is sort of how they picture Maslow's hierarchy. The pyramid is the classic thing, but really we're looking at people move around in this. They sometimes work towards the higher, then move to the lower. It's much in a flux. Really what I want to get across is that we can study the psychological and physical effects of not having these things on humans, and we can evaluate how well a human is from not just medical information, but also psychological information. And that is a thing that we study in its infancy, but we're getting a more and more of an idea of what humans actually need to be well in this world. We can also do...
Yeah, I mean, mental health is, as I've got older, something that I've realized is extremely important to be well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about being physically well. I mean, even though I've become extremely fit and generally healthy, I'm still in agony 24 hours a day. But, I mean, that comes with a psychological thing, and my mental health is one of the things I struggle with the most to be able to do what I need to do in life. So
Yep.
right, it's good points.
And it's all interconnected because your physical health determines and impacts your mental health, and your mental health determines and impacts your physical health. So it is like it's a very deep web. And let me just say hello to Ricardo Rey, who is also another Uruguayan. Hey, and he's
Ricardo.
drinking a beer called Patricia.
Is he in the chat?
Yes, he's in the chat there.
Hello, what's his name? Ricardo.
Ricardo Rey, yes.
Ricardo.
Statistics and polls from around the world. This is the Happiness Report. It is a Gallup World poll. It uses culture-independent questions about how much people fear, how much corruption they think is in their government, how satisfied they are with their lives. Now, keep in mind there are no secular humanist governments. They don't exist anywhere in the world. Secular humanism isn't something like Islam, where there are Islamic governments or countries following Sharia law. But Sweden and Norway, they're sort of the most secular and very, very humanist. So if you had to ask me a country that is most similar to the secular humanist philosophy, I would probably say the Scandinavian countries. Now, keep in mind that there are institutions that veer towards secular humanism. Usually universities are secular humanist organizations. They will not prioritize anybody and just base an equal treatment on everybody, for everybody. And that really is the goal of secular humanism. Is this a subjective ethical system? Subjective means stance dependent. So it basically means, is somebody's stance providing this? And the answer is yes. There seems to be nothing objective saying that you have to care for human well-being. There seems to be no compulsion to do so. Now, the care for our humans, it's ubiquitous, which means that it's very, very widespread, but it's not necessarily universal to all cultures, all countries, all nations, everywhere. It means that the goal of human well-being is something called intersubjective. It's been agreed on by a large number of people, providing a framework for an ethical culture. Now,
yeah, so the way that I would say that is that it's a collective, right? As a collective, we decide what is good and bad based on our shared experiences.
Yep.
Right? That's what he's saying there, basically, is that it's not just how one person thinks, it's how a society as a whole sees an action, right?
Yes. So whenever Andrew says, oh, it's your preference, well, no, it's not my preference. It's a collection of the preferences of a society.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
not just the preferences, the
my
experiences,
me just
right?
throwing a tantrum and saying, I want this. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, we agree. And our collective subjective experience becomes, in my opinion, and this is not a really popular argument, I wouldn't use it, I'm just giving you my thoughts on it, is that the addition of those intersubjective opinions, to me, makes something more or less objective.
Right, yeah. Okay,
But
no,
that's super unpopular.
Yeah. I just see it as, rather than it being about personal preferences, it's about what we as individuals have experienced and how that then matches with what other individuals have experienced, and how then as a whole we can be like, well, we've all got these experiences, how did that affect us, and what can we do to reduce the harm of those experiences, you know?
Yep.
I've just got to figure out a way to put that in a more eloquent way, I think.
Yeah.
The thing is that we know it's not individually subjective, because I could change my mind and say, hey, I don't think I don't think this is important, therefore it shouldn't be the case. And nothing about that society or the ethical framework across that society will actually change, meaning it is not dependent on my opinion or any one person's opinion. It is something that is arrived at by the agreement of people in the society.
But it's why they've arrived at that is, for me, that's the important thing about secular humanism, is why the intersubjective opinion has been reached. And that's where it comes, for me, from the shared experiences of everybody and how that affects us. You know, we've all experienced shit things that have happened to us. We've all got these experiences. So as a society, those horrible things that have happened to us, how can we stop that happening to other people? Right? Isn't that what humanism is about? About making sure that the horrific things of the past that have happened don't have to be experienced again, so we can flourish, right?
Yep, exactly. That's one of the avenues, and the justification is important because they will just like really spout like, you have no justification, but that is not true.
No,
we do have
yeah,
justifications. They just don't like it.
They just don't like the reason why. But no, I've got that nailed. I've got that.
Problems with theistic moral systems. So theistic moral systems, they cannot update with the times, and they're highly resistant to change of any sort. The thing about secular humanism is that if we discover something is good or bad for humans, we can easily just change our stance and change the system so we can embrace whatever is good for humans. Just say we find out that alcohol is actually good for health, we can easily change. Religions and religious moral systems cannot. They will have tenets that are very, very resistant to any change, no matter the harm they cause people, and that is a problem. Religious ethical systems never accommodate other religions or point of view. If they do accommodate them, they will accommodate them in a sense.
Yeah.
This goes to the point that we were talking about. He made his case, and now he's going on the offensive. I think that's kind of the way to go. Or you can take the full time to make your case and then go on the offensive in the open discussion. But
no,
I like if you want to have fun, Nadir is one of the worst debaters there is, bar none. It goes Nadir, Kyle Adams, Matthew Hakim, and other airplanes. But that is my top 3 of the worst people who, if their life depended on making an argument, they wouldn't be able to actually save themselves. That's how crazy Nadir is. So if you're looking for a chill debate that you can watch and like literally laugh your ass off, finish watching this because Nadir is just like, mwah.
All right, okay, I need to get James to set me up with a debate with Nadir then.
Second-class citizen way?
That's going to be hard.
Not a equal stakeholder in this world way. And that is a problem because you will always get resentment where you are putting another group down. The strength of secular humanism says that all people are equal stakeholders in this world. A stakeholder is somebody with a stake or something on the line, as opposed to a shareholder, which is somebody that owns something. What I'm saying is that we all need to have an equal share in the future of the world. Religious ethical systems rely on dogma and false authority. What is interesting to me is that they can never justify where they are getting their authority from over any other religion, and it is a problem. Sometimes they can't square things away with their own religion, which is why we have the fragmentation of religions like Christianity and Islam into people arguing over how to get to this end. All that needs to happen, because secular humanism is reliant on the hard science of whether something is good for humanity or not, is simply showing that, and that's all that's required. So why humanism? So we're all aware that we're equal stakeholders on this planet. We all have a stake in how this world turns out. Now, this is usually something I'm going to go into a bit of an aside, but really my belief is that we are all on this planet and we may need every single person working together in order to save us, sometimes from ourselves. And it is important to realize that we are all part of one shared humanity that is trying to survive on this tiny ball. Look, flat earthers, if you have a problem, look away, close your eyes, plug your ears, whatever. This is the planet. I'm sorry, it just is. So I liken it to, say, ants on a leaf down a river. They think they're fine, and they're just fighting among themselves. The same is happening with humans. We are all just fighting over a world that is in what we now know to be a precarious situation. How do we overcome this? Well, if I knew that, I would be a $1 million genius who would save the planet. But secular humanism at least gives us a basis for establishing a ethical moral system that is based upon real-world human well-being and not on the dictates of any immaterial authority figure which may or may not exist. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that opening statement.
Well,
short, sweet, to the point, made his case. It's not the best opening. I just had it fresh in my mind because it happened like yesterday. But
I mean, I liked it.
Short, sweet, to the point, made his case, went on the attack, wrapped it up into a neat circle, and continued. So it's a good example, I think, for something. But yeah, if you want to reach out to Mark, would you like me to tell you a little secret I have?
Go on then, tell me.
You won't believe what Max V was courteous enough to get his hands and my hands on.
What's that?
Would you like to take a guess?
No. Tell me. Just tell me. I couldn't guess. Tell me.
We have Matthew Hakim's book, the one about the moon landing.
Derp.
Yes. Oh my God. Do you want to know how much it took me to read the full book?
About 20 minutes.
One poop.
It's one
That's
poop
how I
book.
gauge it. Yes, that's how that Matthew Hakim has 2 books. It would take you 1 day or 2 poops to read both of them.
You only
because
poop
they are
twice a
just
day?
like 1 paragraph per page, and then just for good measure has like 5 pages of memes and then 4 blank pages at the end.
Wait, you only poop twice a day?
No, I poop a lot, but it will like.
Well, thank you very much, Max. Yeah.
Oh, thank
really
you.
Extremely helpful.
Thank you so
I really
much for
appreciate it.
considering me to give you some of these tips.
What? No,
it's been great.
Yeah, I very much enjoy watching you destroy people like this. So yeah, guys, if you're not subscribed to Matters now, then Max, why don't you tell them what to do?
You have to make sure to do a social thing. It's like, share, subscribe, send it to a friend, send it to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and you'll subscribe to FTFE and Matters Now! And that way we can share the love for the channels. This is great. I love you, everyone in the audience. And I'm so envious that I can't go to DebateCon, but remember, hashtag Max to DebateCon 6, and you might lend me a hand to actually fulfill that dream that I've had since I started kind of doing this. So
well, yeah, I think
help
you'd
a
be
brother
amazing
out.
to have there. Yeah, thank you very much, Max. Enjoy your next stream, and I will speak to you soon.
Take care. Have a good night.
Goodbye. Well, that was very helpful for me. Now, I understand that a lot of you are a little skeptical about how I'm going to do, because I'm a science dude, and this isn't about facts, and Andrew's very good at debating, but I don't shy away from a challenge. So what? This is my second debate on the subject, and it's against Andrew Wilson. I think I'm going to surprise a lot of you. Have faith in old Craig, would you? Vic from Canada 699 says, for whatever it's worth, every year my dad's birthday we get him a cake and have the words "it too" put on it, so he can have his cake and eat it too. Guys, thank you very much for the support. I will be back tomorrow with another stream and just a bunch of prep for the debate coming, and a premiere tomorrow as well. See you then. Remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the fly. Fight the fly. Fight the fly. Fight the fly. Fight the fly.